12 terrifying archaeological discoveries. Inside caves that left scientists shocked and speechless. Welcome back to Ancient History, the place where we uncover the mysteries buried beneath the dust of time. Dear friends, archaeology may sound dry at first, but in truth, it's a heart-pounding journey that rivals any adventure film. It's a field where every dig, every layer of earth peeled back, could reveal a priceless treasure trove of knowledge. But beyond knowledge and perseverance, archaeologists need something that no textbook can teach: the smile of Lady Luck. Many world-shaking discoveries haven't come from perfectly crafted scientific plans, but instead emerged in the most unexpected of circumstances. A misplaced shovel, a wrong turn, and suddenly, history begins to speak from places no one thought to look. Among the most surprising of these places are shadowy caves, seemingly filled with nothing but darkness and silence, yet quietly guarding untold stories. Ancient artifacts, primitive cave paintings, even traces of long-lost civilizations, all lie in wait, ready to be unearthed and deciphered. So, have you ever wondered what's lying dormant beneath our feet? What might exist inside those pitch-black caves where nothing should be? If your curiosity is piqued, don't look away. Join us as we light up the darkness, follow the trail of time, and seek answers to the mysteries that have been buried for millennia, starting right now. The glowing crystal skeleton in the 9-layered cave of hell. Have you ever imagined stepping into a deep, seemingly bottomless cave hidden in the dense jungles of Central America, where only a few faint rays of sunlight manage to pierce the darkness, and suddenly discovering human skeletons glittering in the shadows? Sounds like something out of a movie, right? But this is a completely true story, centered around a hauntingly named place, the Cave of Hell, located in the heart of Belize, a small country rich with ancient mysteries from the once glorious Maya civilization. The Cave of Hell, already spine-chilling by name, is a vast cave system with 9 main chambers, referred to by locals as the 9 layers of hell. The name evokes the ancient spiritual image of an underworld, and that comparison isn't far off. The deeper one ventures inside, the more they encounter archaeological findings that have shaken researchers to their core. According to scholars, this region was once inhabited by the ancient Maya, a civilization known for its majestic pyramids, complex hieroglyphic writing, and especially its mysterious sacrificial rituals. And this very cave, according to local legend, was believed to be a gateway to the afterlife, a sacred passage through which souls were guided into the realm of the dead. Over years of excavation, archaeologists have uncovered dozens of fossilized skeletons, encased in thick layers of stalactites and limestone. But what's truly chilling and awe-inspiring is that some of these skeletons actually glow when sunlight filters down from the cave's mouth. As if this place were holding on to some form of ancient magic. Scientists explain that this glowing effect is caused by calcification and mineral crystals that have seeped into the bones over thousands of years. When hit by light, these minerals refract it, creating a sparkling, almost living crystal appearance. Among all these remains, one stands out the most: a fully intact skeleton resting on the 9th level, the deepest chamber of the cave. This is the skeleton of a young girl, known as the Crystal Maiden. When light shines upon her, her entire body appears to glow, illuminating the darkness of the cave in an eerily beautiful spectacle. Even more astonishing, based on archaeological features and remnants of jewelry found with her, researchers have determined that she was of Maya nobility. This discovery raises a haunting question. Why would someone of such high status be sacrificed? The answer lies in the Mayas' deep spiritual beliefs. They believed that in order to appease the rain god Chak, not only commoners, but even nobles had to be offered as sacred gifts. Such sacrifices were believed to ensure bountiful harvests and favorable weather. Beyond the skeletons, the cave is filled with ancient jars and ceramic vessels, believed to have held offerings, blood, or other ritual items. The entire cave feels like an underground temple, where sacred ceremonies once took place, many of which remain shrouded in mystery to this day. The deeper one explores, the more it becomes clear. This is not just a natural cave, but a portal through time, one that brings us face to face with the spiritual world of the ancient Maya, a world where people didn't just live for the present, but also carefully prepared for their journey to the afterlife, even if it meant sacrificing their own lives. The 8,000-year-old skeleton in a submerged cave in Tulum. Hidden beneath the icy waters of a limestone cave system in Tulum, Mexico, a place seemingly ruled only by darkness and sediment, archaeologists made a discovery that stunned the scientific community: a human skeleton over 8,000 years old, lying silently underground for millennia. The story began on September 13th, when researcher Octavio Del Rio and diver Peter Brozier ventured into a submerged cave located along the Caribbean coast. Equipped with modern diving gear, they descended about 1,640 feet from the cave entrance and dove 26 feet into the frigid water. There, amidst thick layers of sediment, they came upon fragments of human bones, including a partially broken skull, embedded within ancient limestone formations. It was a scene both strange and haunting. Just imagine how many eras have passed since this body came to rest here. What brought this prehistoric person into such a dark, flooded chamber? Was it the result of an ancient ritual or a tragic accident during one of Earth's harsh climatic phases? Those questions remain unanswered. But what's certain is that this discovery provides an incredibly valuable clue about human life and migration during the final stages of the Ice Age. This is more than just an archaeological find. It serves as a wake-up call about the threats facing our past. Why? Because the cave where the skeleton was found lies dangerously close to the route of the Maya train, a massive 930-mile tourism railway project led by the Mexican government. Its goal is to connect resorts and archaeological sites throughout the Yucatan Peninsula. Do you see the irony? Just as an 8,000-year-old skeleton, representing an entire chapter of human history, has been unearthed, countless other heritage sites like it are under serious threat from modern development. And that's precisely why the exact location of this cave remains undisclosed, not only to prevent looting, but because of a very real fear that construction vibrations, overwhelming tourist traffic, or even small shifts in the surrounding ecosystem could destroy the delicate balance of this cave system, which has survived in fragile stillness for tens of thousands of years. Archaeologists and environmental organizations are now raising their voices in strong opposition to the Maya train project. They fear not only the fragmentation of precious rainforests, but the irreversible destruction of underground cave networks, many of which house vital archaeological remains. Some of these cave systems take decades to explore fully, and one misstep could erase an irreplaceable piece of human history. The discovery of this prehistoric skeleton in Tulum is just one puzzle piece in the much larger picture of our shared past. The Caribbean region, often called the archaeological treasure trove of North America, is slowly revealing its secrets. Yet at the same time, rapid development is making these treasures more vulnerable than ever. So what about you? What do you think? Can we find a way to balance tourism development with heritage preservation? Or will there come a time when history exists only in books, as the last remaining traces are buried forever beneath concrete? Could this 8,000-year-old skeleton change how we understand the past and our responsibility for the future? Share your thoughts below, because every perspective can help protect the historical values we risk losing forever. Archaeological treasure and the mysterious skeleton from ancient Egypt. On a quiet beach within Palmahim National Park in Israel, where the waves continue to lap at the shore as if nothing had ever happened, a backhoe operator, while working, accidentally struck a stone dome. No one expected that this impact would reveal a burial cave dating back an astonishing 3,300 years to the reign of Pharaoh Ramses II, one of the most powerful and legendary rulers in ancient Egypt. As soon as the Israel Antiquities Authority received the report, their experts rushed to the scene to investigate. The entrance to the tomb was opened, and what they saw inside left the entire archaeological team stunned. Scattered across the cave floor were dozens of burial artifacts, remarkably well preserved: clay jars, bowls, oil lamps, cooking pots, and even bronze tools. But that wasn't all. The presence of a human skeleton in this cramped space confirmed without doubt that this wasn't a storage site for ancient relics. It was a real burial chamber where funerary rituals were likely performed sometime in the 13th century BCE at the end of the Late Bronze Age. Can you imagine that? Beneath a modern-day beach, there existed a living archive like this, holding stories and customs buried for more than 3 millennia? Hard to believe, right? I felt the same way. All we know so far is that the tomb is surprisingly spacious and square in shape, showing clear signs of intentional human construction. Based on the layout of the items, archaeologists believe this was likely the final resting place for a family or high-status lineage, rather than a single individual. There's another fascinating detail that makes this discovery even more remarkable: the diverse origins of the artifacts. Many of the ceramic vessels and objects were identified as coming from Cyprus, northern Syria, Lebanon, Gaza, and even Jaffa. This indicates that maritime trade at the time was highly developed, and that this region once served as a key hub in the ancient international trade network. It's incredible to realize that more than 3,000 years ago, people here were not only living, but also trading goods and interacting with other civilizations across the Mediterranean. The objects left behind in the cave are like physical journals, chronicling the journey of a long-lost world. However, not everything was perfectly preserved. The skeleton found in the tomb was badly decomposed, making it extremely difficult to extract DNA to determine the person's sex, age, or cause of death. Because of this, scientists are now facing a major challenge: trying to decode who this person was, where they came from, and what might have happened to them in their final days. Despite the difficulties, researchers are hopeful that this discovery will shed light on burial customs during the Late Bronze Age, a time that served as a cultural and political bridge between the ancient Near East and Egypt. So here's the big question: what can we learn from 3,300-year-old clay jars and a time-worn skeleton? Can they offer us a more complete picture of the beliefs, trade, and everyday life of that era? If this site truly is part of an ancient cemetery, then it's likely that many more secrets lie buried beneath the ground nearby. And maybe, just maybe, that random collision with a backhoe was the beginning of a journey back to a forgotten world, where every jar, every oil lamp, whispers a story from the past. So what do you think? How many more stories lie silently beneath our feet, just waiting for a chance moment to be uncovered? Personally, I believe there are countless. We simply haven't found them yet with our limited human reach. The 1,000-year-old smoke, mummified corpse in a Philippine cave. Deep within the rugged, windswept mountains of the Philippines, amid ancient limestone and dense jungle canopy, lies a mystery almost forgotten by time. It's not a treasure of gold or the ruins of a palace, but smoke-mummified corpses thousands of years old, a strange and sacred heritage of the Ibaloi people, an indigenous group with deep roots in the islands. Unlike the Egyptian mummies preserved with pine resin or salt, the Ibaloi developed a wholly different technique. They would smoke the bodies of the deceased for weeks. This was both a ritual and a scientific process passed down through generations. When completed, these mummies were referred to by a striking name: the fire mummies or smoke mummies. Archaeological records and modern studies suggest this practice began about 1,000 years ago, but ceased over 400 years ago. Even so, many limestone burial caves still preserve these fire mummies, where even tattoos on the arms and legs remain clearly visible, as if time never touched them. Can you imagine? A body laid to rest centuries ago, yet the cultural details, its clothing, posture, even sacred tattoo designs, are preserved exactly as they were. That's why people say these mummies are not merely remains, but portals into a once flourishing highland culture of the Philippines. And here's a remarkable fact. According to Daily Mail, there are as many as 80 sacred caves in the Philippines regarded as tomb repositories for these fire mummies. What's more, their exact locations are not commonly known. Only the elders of the Ibaloi community hold that secret, along with the smoke mummification technique, passed on as a family's esoteric tradition. So why did the Ibaloi mummify in this way? The answer is that it was more than preservation. It was a profound spiritual and religious practice. They believed only a smoke-purified body, bathed in sacred fire and placed in a natural cave, could grant the departed soul eternal rest under the guardianship of ancestors in the afterlife. Typically, the burial sites were high rock niches deep in the forest, chosen both for their sanctity and to shield against intrusion. Today, the smoke mummification ritual is no longer practiced, but the surviving mummies in these caves remain living testimony to the Ibaloi's unique belief system and culture. They tell the story of a people who lived in intimate connection with mountains, fire, and a sacred conviction that death is not an end, but a journey into another world. Have you ever thought that even in our technologically advanced world, there could still exist such living museums, where bodies are preserved not by chemicals or machines, but by smoke, time, and faith? If faced with a 1,000-year-old fire mummy, would you dare touch that vibrant layer of history? Or simply stand in quiet awe, whispering to yourself, "Time after all cannot consume everything"? 5,000 ancient paintings found inside a Mexican cave. Deep within the rugged mountain ranges of northeastern Mexico, an area once believed to be desolate and untouched by ancient civilizations, a groundbreaking discovery has stunned the archaeological world. Nearly 5,000 ancient paintings have been uncovered inside a mysterious cave system in the autonomous region of Burgos, in the state of Tamaulipas, right near the U.S. border. For years, this region was thought to have no traces of pre-Hispanic tribes. And yet, these intricate artworks, carved, painted, and etched onto the cave walls, are now completely rewriting our understanding of the area's history. According to Mexico's National Institute of Anthropology and History, INAH, out of the 4,926 artworks, over 1,550 are concentrated in one area known as Horse Cave, a place dubbed a prehistoric art museum nestled deep within the mountains. No canvases, no lighting, yet these simple strokes and earthy colors bring to life an entire ancient civilization, from daily life to their sacred spiritual world. What makes these paintings especially remarkable is that they are not just random markings. They vividly depict the daily activities of early humans: deer hunting, fishing, gathering, and migrating in groups. Mixed among them are abstract symbols, astronomical motifs, and even imagery related to religious rituals, all of which reflect a highly developed spiritual life and sophisticated thinking among these ancient tribes. Though the exact age of the paintings is still being determined through radiocarbon dating, what's already been revealed is enough to open a whole new chapter in the search for Mexico's prehistoric past. Archaeologist Martha Garcia Sanchez from the University of Zacatecas passionately stated, "This discovery not only confirms the presence of pre-Hispanic tribes in Burgos, it challenges decades of established historical understanding. That's why it's fair to say these ancient paintings are not merely works of art. They are silent, powerful narratives of the communities that once thrived in these harsh and remote mountains." Tribes such as the Guajolotes, Iconoplos, and Pintos left unmistakable marks in each line and figure, revealing that they escaped Spanish colonial control for nearly 200 years, living in isolation and preserving a distinct and self-sustaining culture. That's not an exaggeration. Surrounded by wild nature without modern tools, they still managed to create a visual legacy so striking that it leaves the modern world in awe. Even more astonishing, these paintings have never been vandalized, never touched for thousands of years, making them a living testament to a civilization whose resilience is almost hard to believe. For archaeologists, this is a major breakthrough. But for the rest of us, those following the journey to uncover humanity's forgotten stories, it's a gateway to imagination and to an endless admiration for our ancestors, don't you think? A cup made from a human skull and the mystery of a 7,000-year-old treasure in a Spanish cave. A cup made from a human skull, discovered deep inside an ancient cave in Spain. It sounds like something straight out of a horror novel, but this is entirely real. And what's even more astonishing is that it's not just the cup. A chilling archaeological treasure trove dating back 7,000 years has just been uncovered by researchers from the University of Bern, Switzerland, and the University of Córdoba, Spain. The discovery site is Marmolles Cave, a remote location that holds a wealth of insight into how prehistoric people viewed life and death. There, archaeologists found 12 ancient burials, containing the remains of 7 adults and 5 children. But it's the cup made from a human skull that has drawn the most attention. Microscopic analysis shows the skull had been intentionally processed, broken along specific lines, then carefully cleaned of flesh and soft tissue. The inside surface even shows traces of having held liquid. Was it a ceremonial vessel, or just a utilitarian item? That question remains unanswered. But one thing is clear. It reveals how ancient people repurposed the remains of their own kind, not out of savagery, but likely due to religious, spiritual, or deep-rooted cultural traditions. And it doesn't stop there. Other bones in the cave show signs of being scraped for flesh, split for marrow, and in some cases cracked open, possibly to access the inner parts. These findings raise the possibility that cannibalistic practices may have occurred in Marmolles Cave. This might sound disturbing, but let's not rush to judgment. In prehistoric times, the use of human remains could have held sacred meaning, rather than being seen as a crime as we might interpret it today. Supporting this idea, several bone fragments found in the cave were carefully shaped and polished, possibly used as tools, weapons, or even ritual offerings. The cut marks and fractures were deliberate and systematic, indicating that people of that era had a symbolic and structured way of making use of every part of the deceased. To this day, scientists have not determined why these individuals were treated this way after death. Were they victims of conflict? Were they sacrificed in religious ceremonies? Or was it part of a cultural tradition to honor and remember ancestors? So far, all we have are theories. But one thing is certain: ancient societies on the Iberian Peninsula, what is now Spain, held complex beliefs about death and the afterlife. So what do you think? Knowing that 7,000 years ago, communities might have gathered around fires, passing around a cup made from a skull, perhaps to drink from it or to perform a mystical rite? As for me, I see this discovery not just as a major archaeological breakthrough, but as a powerful new lens through which we can better understand how ancient people viewed the cycle of life and death. Instead of seeing death as an end, they may have seen it as a continuation, where the body of the deceased was transformed into an object, a tool, or a medium of connection with the divine or with ancestors. Human bones and ancient mummification rituals in Scotland's 3,000-year-old Cave of the Dead. Hidden among the steep cliffs and treacherous terrain along the northeastern coast of Scotland lies one of the most haunting archaeological discoveries in recent years. Cove C Cave, long forgotten for millennia, is now known by a chilling name: the Cave of Human Bones. Few would have guessed that behind the rugged beauty near Inverness was a site concealing an ancient secret, one tied to early mummification rituals and mysterious spiritual beliefs. And do you know what archaeologists found when they first entered the Cove C cave system? They didn't just uncover human bones scattered across the cold stone floor. They also came face to face with the first evidence that ancient people performed complex burial rites right here. Of course, the journey was anything but easy. The paths leading to the cave are steep, moss-covered cliffs, constantly battered by harsh coastal winds. Even modern archaeologists required specialized safety gear to reach the site. So imagine, how did people from the Bronze Age, more than 3,000 years ago, manage to bring the dead here? And more importantly, why choose such an isolated, nearly inaccessible place? According to Dr. Lindsay Buster from the University of Edinburgh, one of the lead researchers on the excavation, this location was likely a sacred site, a place ancient people believed allowed for a connection to the afterlife. That belief may explain not only why they brought their dead here, but also why they may have performed early forms of mummification, a practice previously thought not to exist in the British Isles. But there's more. One particularly intriguing part of the Cove C cave system is Sculptor's Cave, which contains mysterious carvings in the now extinct Pictish language. These strange symbols date back to around the 7th to 9th centuries AD. So the question is, who left these markings? Are they connected to the mummification rituals, or are they remnants of an unknown civilization? These puzzles remain unsolved and continue to baffle archaeologists. Another significant finding: the remains discovered inside Cove C cave weren't simply placed there. Evidence shows the bodies were deliberately processed. Bones were disarticulated, rearranged, and manipulated as part of ritual practices. This points to the possibility that Cove C wasn't just a burial site, but a spiritual ceremonial center, where ancient people expressed a powerful belief in rebirth or eternity after death. If this interpretation proves true, it could completely transform our understanding of Bronze Age spiritual life in Britain. Until now, no historical records or archaeological evidence had suggested that prehistoric people in Scotland practiced mummification or transported remains to remote, dangerous caves for sacred rituals. And so, the biggest question still lingers. Was Cove C Cave a holy site, a portal to the divine, or was it simply a final resting place for revered souls? Was the act of carrying bodies deep into solid rock meant to prevent their spirits from returning to the living world, or was it a way to keep them close to the sacred energy of the earth? And perhaps, what we know today is only the tip of the iceberg, just a glimpse into a hidden legacy buried in darkness. In the deepest corners of Cove C, hundreds of bone fragments, ritual traces, and untold mysteries still remain, waiting to be brought back into the light. Millennia-old carvings. bring ancient legends to life in an Alabama cave. In 1998, archaeologists excavated a mysterious cave in Alabama, tentatively referred to as unnamed cave number 19. At first glance, the site appeared to be just another typical archaeological location, but hidden deep within the cave were secrets that had waited decades to be uncovered. It wasn't until recently, when a team of American scientists applied cutting-edge optical technology, that images from the depths of the cave were finally revealed, leading to a discovery that left the archaeological community amazed and speechless. What they found were ancient petroglyphs, believed to be the largest in the United States, concealed in the darkness of a vast underground chamber. Thanks to advanced 3D scanning technology, researchers uncovered breathtaking cave art that carries the unmistakable imprint of a civilization thousands of years old, like ghosts of the past suddenly brought to life. Among the most striking is about 10 feet depiction of a rattlesnake, its body adorned with delicate diamond-shaped patterns. The craftsmanship is so precise and refined that anyone who sees it cannot help but marvel at the skill and dedication of the ancient artists. This isn't just a drawing, it is a powerful symbol of belief and strength in the spiritual culture of the native peoples who once lived here. Other carvings in the cave depict human-like figures over about 6.5 feet, wearing regal attire but bearing mysterious, otherworldly expressions, as if they were spiritual guardians watching over the secrets of the underworld. These images reveal not only extraordinary artistic skill, but also offer a rare glimpse into the spiritual life and belief systems of ancient Native American societies. What stunned researchers even more was the age of these carvings, all estimated to be around 1,000 years old. When you consider their scale and intricate detail, it's impossible not to be awed by the artistic sophistication and social organization of the people who created them. Long before European settlers ever arrived on this land, it turns out that unnamed cave number 19 isn't just an underground art gallery. It is part of a complex cave system stretching over 3 miles, shedding new light on how ancient civilizations organized their spaces and carried out daily and ceremonial life. This is, without a doubt, an invaluable archaeological discovery, one that enriches our understanding of Native American history and culture, and offers profound insight into an ancient civilization that has remained largely mysterious until now. So, have you ever wondered what those masterful artisans were thinking as they carved each line into the rock? What stories were they trying to tell? Perhaps they were depicting beliefs, legends, or maybe even sending messages to future generations. I can't say for certain, but what's clear is this: exploring unnamed cave number 19 isn't just a journey into the past. It's a dialogue across time, reconnecting us with those who once turned bare stone into a living museum of art and meaning. And who knows, how many more secrets might still lie hidden in the deepest corners of other caves scattered across the planet. 250,000-year-old hominid baby skull. Did you know that deep inside the Rising Star Cave in South Africa lies an ancient secret dating back nearly 250,000 years? If you haven't heard about it before, join me in exploring an archaeological discovery from this site that recently shook the scientific world. Scientists uncovered the skull of a hominid child who lived approximately 250,000 years ago. At the time, experts believed this discovery could be the key to unlocking the mystery of a previously unknown group of ancestors. Here's the specific discovery. In a remote and hard-to-reach section deep within the Rising Star Cave, scientists found 28 bone fragments, including 6 intact teeth. Immediately, the research team at the University of the Witwatersrand, South Africa, pieced these tiny fragments together and revealed the skull of a child estimated to be between 4 and 6 years old. This skull shows a fascinating blend of traits, some resembling modern humans and others more primitive, leading us to ask, who exactly was this child? Even Professor Guy Berger, a member of the research team, expressed astonishment at the excavation site. The location was so deep and inaccessible within the cave that no one could understand how a human-like child could have ended up there. After extensive study and analysis, scientists confirmed the skull belonged to a hominid child, specifically Homo naledi, a mysterious species discovered less than a decade ago. Homo naledi lived during the Stone Age in what is considered the cradle of humankind, a region rich with important fossils. Lee Berger, who led the project, emphasized, "The real mystery lies in why the child was found there, deep within this cave, dating back between 200,000 and 300,000 years ago." Interestingly, Researchers have not yet determined the sex of the remains, but the preservation is remarkable. Both baby teeth and emerging adult teeth were intact, a rare find, considering children's bones are usually too fragile to survive hundreds of thousands of years. Before this discovery, over 1,500 fossil fragments from about 15 Homo naledi individuals had already been excavated in the area. These specimens show hands, wrists, and feet similar to those of modern humans or Neanderthals, while also retaining very primitive traits of early southern African apes, especially in the upper body and the small brain size. According to CNN and many scientists, Homo naledi presents a strange blend of ancient and modern features. Their brains were only about the size of a small orange, yet their hands resembled modern humans, with curved fingers indicating excellent climbing and effective tool use. This raises a major question. Could Homo naledi have been primitive in appearance but also possessed relatively advanced intelligence and skills? Another intriguing fact is that Homo naledi existed alongside Homo sapiens for roughly 100,000 years. They appeared about 335,000 years ago, nearly coinciding with the emergence of modern human ancestors. However, unlike Homo sapiens, Homo naledi went extinct around 236,000 years ago, and so far, there's no evidence they ever met, lived with, or interbred with us. Because the initial fossil fragments were small and incomplete, Homo naledi was once called a ghost species, with little clarity about their appearance or lifestyle. But now, with the discovery of this baby's skull deep in the cave, we have a clearer picture of a lost relative in the Homo family, opening an exciting new chapter in the story of human evolution. The Vikings' rare artifact. Hoard used to prevent the apocalypse in Surtshellar Cave. Have you ever imagined a treasure trove that not only holds great material value, but also serves as the key to unlocking an ancient mystery tied to the beliefs and survival of a powerful civilization? Recently, archaeologists in Iceland uncovered an incredibly rare collection of artifacts over 1,000 years old, hidden deep inside Surtshellar Cave, one of the lava tube caves formed by molten lava from a volcano that erupted nearly 1,100 years ago and has long been dormant. What makes this discovery especially captivating is not just the precious artifacts themselves, but also a strange boat-shaped rock formation deep inside the cave. Scientists believe this was where the Vikings conducted sacrificial rituals intended to prevent a disaster they feared, a prophesied apocalypse known as Ragnarok. According to Norse mythology, Ragnarok is a catastrophic event where the world will be consumed by fire, and most living beings on Earth will be destroyed. The massive volcanic eruption that shook Iceland at the time alarmed the Vikings, who were new settlers on this cold island, filling them with fear and uncertainty. They believed the volcanic disaster was a sign foretelling the terrifying apocalypse described in their legends. Because of this, Surtshellar became a sacred site where rituals and prayers were performed to ask the gods for forgiveness and to stop the destruction. Evidence inside the cave shows that the Vikings burned the bones of animals such as sheep, cattle, goats, pigs, and horses as a form of sacrifice. Although there is no direct proof that these rituals were meant to appease the gods, the connection between the cultural practices and the natural circumstances clearly provides an important piece of the puzzle. Additionally, archaeologists were astonished to find 63 strings of beads made from very rare minerals. These beads originated from the Middle East, a region thousands of miles away from Northern Europe, where such minerals are much more common than in Iceland. This discovery reveals a complex and extensive trade network the Vikings may have established, transporting these precious items all the way to distant Iceland. Yet the biggest question remains unanswered. Why were these valuable bead strings found inside Surtshellar Cave? What was their true role in Viking rituals or daily life? Were they offerings, symbols of power, or spiritual protections against disaster? All of these questions remain mysteries waiting to be solved. But the story of the Viking treasure in Surtshellar is not just a journey into ancient artifacts, it's also a journey into the beliefs and fears of people facing harsh natural upheavals. The traces and relics left behind offer a window into the Viking world. Fierce warriors, but also deeply spiritual individuals concerned with their fate. From the wild fury of volcanic eruptions to sacred ceremonies within the cave, we see a profound connection between humans and nature, between faith and action aimed at preserving life. 4,000-year-old cave paintings of primitive Indonesians. A journey back tens of thousands of years has just opened a new mysterious chapter as Indonesian archaeologists, working alongside their Australian colleagues, discovered priceless ancient cave paintings on Sulawesi Island, Indonesia. These prehistoric artworks date back as far as 40,000 years, almost parallel to the famous similar works found in Europe. What makes scientists and archaeology enthusiasts pause and ponder is the question: where did cave art originate, and how did it spread across the prehistoric world? The archaeological team found a total of 12 negative hand stencils along with 2 animal drawings on the limestone cave walls scattered throughout the southwestern Sulawesi region. These simple images carry a powerful spark that evokes the imagination and spirituality of early humans. Using modern carbon dating techniques, scientists determined the age of these paintings to be around 40,000 years old, nearly as ancient as the oldest cave paintings discovered in Europe. Interestingly, the first cave paintings in Indonesia were found as early as the 1950s, but it wasn't until now that their precise age could be confirmed. Meanwhile, the world's oldest known cave painting was discovered in El Castillo Cave, Cantabria, Spain, and is about 40,800 years old, just slightly older than the Sulawesi findings. This remarkable coincidence, with 2 locations nearly 8,000 miles apart holding artworks of nearly the same age, has led experts to ask a big question. Did cave art develop independently in different places, or was it a cultural product that spread from a common origin gradually across the prehistoric globe? Thomas Sutikna, co-author of the study from the University of Wollongong and the man behind the discovery of the hobbit dwarf human species in Indonesia a decade ago, believes that these rock paintings are the first clear evidence that early humans possessed imagination and exceptional creativity. He stated, "Rock art may have originated simultaneously and independently among early modern human communities in both Europe and Southeast Asia, or it may be the result of cultural diffusion as early modern humans left Africa tens of thousands of years ago." If this hypothesis is correct, then these ancient animal paintings on stone are not just simple artworks, but evidence that human culture may have a deeper and more complex origin than we have ever imagined. These ancient paintings do more than offer archaeological value. They open a door into the spiritual world and consciousness of ancestors tens of thousands of years ago. Through them, we see that early humans did not just live to survive, but also expressed their thoughts, hopes, and life stories through art, one of the earliest manifestations of intellect and creative spirit. So, what do you think about the origin of art? Did it emerge simultaneously in many places worldwide, or was it a cultural flame passed from generation to generation? And if so, is that creativity what binds humanity beyond all geographic and temporal barriers? These are certainly open questions, challenging both scientists and all of us today as we strive to understand our own past through ancient traces. Lagarma Cave, a 16,000-year-old door leading to the evolutionary treasure of humanity. A door sealed for tens of millennia unexpectedly opened in 1995 in the southern hills of Lagarma, located in Cantabria province, Spain. No one could have imagined that behind the layer of earth and rock, blocked since the last ice age, lay one of the greatest archaeological discoveries of the century. Lagarma Cave, famously called humanity's treasure trove, took scientists deep into a distant past, preserving vivid evidence of a lost prehistoric era. Unlike many caves that have been disturbed or altered over time, Lagarma remained almost completely intact. The cave had been sealed shut for 16,700 years, preserving its entire ecosystem as if time had never passed. This created an unparalleled archaeological value, a time capsule transporting us back to the Magdalenian era, a culture that flourished in Europe during the late Upper Paleolithic period. Upon entering the silent space of Lagarma, archaeologists discovered an ancient hearth still marked with traces of ash. This was not just a fire pit, but the central hub of daily life for a small prehistoric group, a place where they gathered, crafted tools, and processed animal meat and hides for their everyday survival. This is an authentic snapshot of our ancestors' life tens of thousands of years ago. But the discoveries didn't stop there. During excavation, scientists collected over 4,600 invaluable artifacts: deer, aurochs, and horse bones, shells and flint tools, decorative objects, all reflect the ancient people's skill level, aesthetic sense, and environmental adaptation. Each artifact serves as a piece of the evolutionary puzzle, recording humanity's mark in the harsh prehistoric struggle for survival. Perhaps the most extraordinary find lies on the cave's cold stone walls. About 500 mysterious drawings, ranging from animal images to abstract symbols, were meticulously carved. Surprisingly, many of these paintings date back as far as 300,000 years, a number that astonishes archaeologists worldwide. If widely confirmed, this could completely change what we know about the artistic expression abilities of prehistoric humans. Additionally, an oval area about 54 square feet, surrounded by stalagmites and large stones, was identified as the foundation of a fixed structure, possibly a ritual space for sacred spiritual ceremonies. After 2 years of in-depth analysis and research, archaeologists reached a groundbreaking conclusion. La Garma Cave is not just an ancient site, but a record of 300,000 years of human evolutionary history. From culture and belief systems to lifestyle and tool-making techniques, all are clearly present like an ancient book with every page intact. Because of its significance beyond conventional archaeology, La Garma was recognized by UNESCO as a World Heritage Site. The cave stands not only as a historical testament, but as a symbol of human intelligence, adaptability, and relentless creativity over hundreds of thousands of years. And if you're wondering, could there be many more La Garmas buried deep beneath layers of earth somewhere in the world? Perhaps the answer is still waiting to be uncovered. Just as 16,700 years ago, a door quietly closed, only to open today, giving us the chance to step inside. You see, caves are truly dark, mysterious, and incredibly sacred places because they once served as the homes for our human ancestors, as well as the terrifying animals of the Ice Age. Discoveries inside caves don't just open a door to the past, they also make us reflect on mysteries that time still hasn't explained. What do you think about these mysterious cave discoveries? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to give our channel a like and subscribe so you won't miss our next exciting journeys. For now, thanks for watching, and see you next time.